Howdy. Today I'm looking at Marvel Transformers Spider-Man. Before anyone asks, I will not be buying the black costume recolor. It looks incredibly boring even with the spider logos on it. So consider this a neutral rating for the recolor. Only pick it up if you really like that costume design. The alt form is a motorcycle, as you can see. I'm not quite sure whether it's fitting for the character, but it works fine, I suppose. Now, the mold in this mode is okay. The proportions are good, and it has some of the features you'd expect from a motorcycle, such as handlebars and a chain guard. It also has 2 retractable kickstands instead of just 1, so it can sit up straight without falling over. I like how the missiles act as exhaust pipes, what with their colouring and all. Aside from storing them here, you can insert them in the back. Then you press these buttons and they fire, either as just missiles or exhaust plumes, which I think is pretty nifty. There aren't really any mech extras visible, although some of the seams are pretty ugly. The colours, however, practically ruin the disguise element. I appreciate that they have to stick to Spider-Man's costume colours, but the layout is so close in mech mode that here, it just looks like a contortionist with motorcycle parts attached. This is the only area where it falls behind the black costume version, which blends everything together better. Aside from all that, red and blue aren't really practical colours for a motorcycle, when used in these amounts anyway. At least Reverb had additional colours and decals. Although, I do like the use of silver on the wheels, and I also like the fact that the windshield is cleverly decoed to resemble Spider-Man's head. The transformation is almost exactly the same as Movie RC. The first one, I mean. The main difference, however, is that the whole of the rear section splits to form the arms, whereas with Movie RC you pull most of it off to form a weapon. As a result of this similar conversion, some of the problems that RC had in her robot mode apply here as well. For starters, there's this huge backpack that doesn't lock in place. It's a bit loose actually. Plus, these wheel bars hang off the shoulders and serve no purpose, though they do complement the overall look a little. This isn't to say this is a bad mech mode. His proportions are close to the actual character, and as mentioned earlier, the colour layout is very accurate to the costume. He also has his traditional spider logo on his chest. To help emphasize that this is a mech, there's silver web patterns on his head and silver wiring on his thighs. The missiles can be fired the same way as before, and I like the silver web patterns on them. His hands are permanently moulded into the web shooting pose, or if you fold it up like this, articulation is really limited by the design of his joints and kibble. For instance, the hips don't have enough spread, and the waist is blocked by the backpack. What's unique is that he has a pin in his body that allows him to tilt up and down in the stomach area, which is pretty cool. A final problem with this mode is the blocky forearms. Aside from being hollow, they just don't fit in with the general slim proportions of the figure. There is apparently a variation of this particular version, where the red and blue are slightly darker to make it even more costume accurate. You may want to find that version instead if you missed this one. Regardless of the colour scheme though, it's a decent mould. My next two reviews will focus on the first wave of Revenge of the Fallen Legends. See you then!